Les Misérables in its first form was a shorter and different show. It opened at Le Palais des Sports in Paris in September 1980, directed by a French director called Robert Hossein, and lasted there for 100 shows in a 4,000-seater, which was a sports arena, because unfortunately we didn't have or couldn't find the kind of theatre where it could have been held as a straight theatre play. So it was a huge success, because in 100 shows there were 500,000 people who saw it. The show closed because of a previous booking by the Moscow State Circus, if I remember well, with something like 50,000 people wanting to see the show and who couldn't get tickets. And that's how it finished in Paris, until we met Cameron McIntosh 2 years later, who had never seen that show in Paris.
We were very disappointed because when the show stopped in Paris, because of course after we were alone together with the baby with us, you know, and we hoped that somebody will have the show on once again. We were trying and waiting for, but as everything important in your life arrived, it was a mixture of will and chance.
A Hungarian director came into my office about 6 months after I'd opened Cats in London and handed me this album and said, look, this is Les Misérables. I think if you can cope with T.S. Eliot's Cats, maybe this novel would be something you'd be interested to do as a musical. And I thought, Les Misérables, it's a French musical, sounds like a contradiction in terms. And I was vaguely intrigued. I'd vaguely heard of it too, but didn't think much of it. But a few days later, I was doing nothing at home, and I decided I'd put it on. And I remember that it was at 11:03 on a Thursday morning in my apartment, and by the fourth track, I thought, my God, this is the most wonderful musical I've heard for years. I never originally had any idea of doing Les Misérables at the Barbican. When I heard it, my immediate impulse was that this was a piece for Trevor Nunn. Trevor made two very strong suggestions about doing Les Misérables, and one was that we did it first at the Barbican Theatre, because he felt that that rehearsal process would be invaluable to the creation of this show. And secondly, that his collaborator from Nicholas Nickleby, John Caird, do the show with him. And I'd just done Song and Dance with John Caird, so I knew and liked him very much. So both suggestions I pounced on with alacrity.
Well, Jean Valjean, the story is very simple. He's a man who is imprisoned for 19 years for stealing a loaf of bread, which, according to the law at the time, was a perfectly just thing, because he keeps trying to escape. And his struggle is the struggle of a potentially violent man to control the beast in himself and become good.
Him rest, heaven and blessed. Bring him home, bring him home, bring him home.
We've been incredibly lucky to have been blessed with some brilliant Jean Valjeans all the way around the world. Our original London and Broadway star, Con Wilkinson, the great Irish troubadour, was followed by a marvellous country and western singer, Gary Morris. And in Tel Aviv, marvellous Israeli cantor, Dudu Fisher, is currently wowing them, and looks like he'll be playing Valjean indefinitely there. With all these wonderful performances all the way around the world, I felt it was time to capture some of these on one complete symphonic recording. The difficulty has been making the choice. The reason we're doing a symphonic recording grew out of my original thought of doing an Australian cast album, so that there would be one version which had every note in it, because the London and Broadway productions only have 85 minutes on it, whereas there's actually 2 hours and 40 minutes of music in Les Misérables. And as it's now succeeding beyond my wildest dreams, I thought there might be enough Les Mis freaks in the world to want to have every note of it.